Okay. October 17th, 2021. This is going to be part 20. Again, let me recap the story. It's June of 1967. Debbie and I had been through various things. I met her when she was 6 years old. They came from Corpus Christi. Her father had been a Navy commander of some type, worked with NASA. Her parents were in the process of divorce for many years. Her mother was a waitress and a maitre d' at a nightclub and played the organ, the pop hits, of the night. She played the organ and she looked like Liz Taylor. So you go pull up some pictures of Liz Taylor with that little silver streak in her hair. It looked exactly like her mom. Her older sister looked like a young Audrey Hepburn and a young Elizabeth Taylor with jet black hair and brown eyes. She was kind of liberal. She worked for Southern Bell. She was already out. She probably helped support the little family. The father lived in Daytona, Edgewater down by NASA, Cape Canaveral at the time. I think they were already split. Debbie couldn't get into big trouble because it could be a custody dispute and stop the support and who knows what. So anyway, we'd been through split sessions. We'd been to the Presbyterian school. We ended up at Stonewall Jackson. And now we're 12 and a half, going on 13, and we're headed to junior high school. In order to get in early, we took summer band. I seemed like I was a little bit ambivalent. I think my mom got the clarinet at a pawn shop. It was a Bundy clarinet with a lavender velvet interior. We went to the band shell. Miss Rosselli, I think her name was Janet Rosselli, and Yearling, I think, was the head of it. But anyway, some of the Leonard Skinner and all went through this. But anyway, we went there for 6 weeks. I don't know what Debbie did with her. She may have moved on with it. But anyway, Debbie was always taking advanced courses and moving on all the time. We came through the school. She had a little black flute case. I had my clarinet case, and I think my mom had borrowed it from a pawn shop. We walked by the pine trees. That was the front parking lot. There also was a basketball backboard, and then there was a ball field. There were bleachers in front of the ball field, and they had put the excess clay in a circle in front of the ball field. It was on called at the time Baseball Road or something. I think it's called Jeb Seward Drive now. It's off West Gannett. And we walked there. And the reason I think it was June 5th is because May 31st was Memorial Day, which is a holiday, right? And then 2 more days would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we go right into summer band, 6 weeks. Get into junior high school ASAP. Anyway, Debbie's wearing a white peasant top, cut off blue jeans that were short shorts, frayed. They called her Jug. She was tan all the time, it seemed like. She had brown eyes, kind of looked like a young Barbara Eden or something, I don't know. And she stopped at the bleachers. And she was, acting like a diva. And I said, I'm going to try to hitchhike. Because it was a summer love, and I guess I had read some things. I had, you had the teen magazines at that time and stuff. I said, well, I'm going to try to hitchhike, pretend to hitchhike. So I go in the corner, and several muscle cars go by, like a black Mercury, maybe a Comet. I'm just trying little Fairline Blue. It's very old cars. And then all of a sudden, a green fishtail-looking car went by, and I think in my mind, I thought, oh, that might be Mrs. Mock. We're going to get in trouble. We're going to get real bad trouble. So I went back across, and I look up, and there's this bright red Volkswagen. Seemed like it had white walls and some chrome on it, bright red, very unusual for Jacksonville in 1967, somewhat unusual. I said, oh, my goodness, okay, a foreign car, right? So when I went across, and Debbie's talking to this guy, she leaned into the passenger side and talking, and I don't know whether I stood to the rear of the driver's side or the rear of the passenger side. But as I walked across, the tag seemed to be white with, I thought, dark green or dark black lettering and had a border around it. And I said, oh, out-of-state tag. I was used to that. We traveled to Philadelphia. We traveled to Mississippi. I was used to looking for tags. That's what you did when you're on the highway. So I knew it wasn't a Florida tag. And I've looked up since then. It's not a Philadelphia, California. And it only states that it resembles as Washington. Anyway, this guy's got a real sharp haircut. He looked very GQ, very preppy. And she's talking very quiet. I can't hear what they're saying. And I said, oh, this is a courting game or something. And I said, well, Debbie's too young to be doing this. What are we doing? And then she said, get in. And I said, no, Debbie, it's just pretend. We're just pretending. But then I saw that she was going to get in this vehicle with what appeared to be a 20 to 22-year-old man. Anyway, so She opens it and lowers the front seat, and I get in. There's no seat belts. I remember that. There's books back there, and I said, "There's books back here." He said, "Just move the books. Just move the books." And then he hopped off the baseball grounds, and Debbie got in the front seat. And he had very short hair. It was straight across the back. There was a bad odor it came from, and I said, there was a golf shirt back there with an emblem on it, like a pale yellow golf shirt. And then I was right up by his side of his face. I mean, and somewhere we went around the baseball drive, came to Lamoille. He turned left. When we got to Wesconet, at that time was a pasture, was Towers Hardware, had cows in it. He pulled a revolver from somewhere. I was looking at my clarinet. I wanted to see how it was assembled because there's like a bell, there's cork, there's keys, and there's like 3 or 4 pieces. And you had reeds you had to use the mouthpiece. There was a mouthpiece and a bell, and I'm looking down at it, and I look up, and there's a revolver between the seats pointing to the ceiling, and then I followed it to the top. The ceiling was white with little peg holes. The steering wheel was larger than a normal steering wheel, and it had like 3 little grips at the bottom, and it had a foreign, like it was black and white, and it was like enameled over, and then there was a big stick shift thing. And I said, "What is your name?" And he said, "Theodore." And I said, "Theodore?" And I said, because my mom was Ingeborg. And she went by Inga. I mean, to me, she was Mommy and then Mom. But I mean, to her friends, she was Inga. To Dad, she was Inga, So you don't call yourself Ingeborg, You don't call yourself Gregory, you call it Greg. Anyway, excuse me, I'm trying to sneeze. Anyway, so this happened. And Debbie and I started saying, "Oh, if you're looking for girls, you want to try the high school. There's real pretty girls up at the high school. You ought to meet Debbie and Vicky. I'm sorry, Vicky and Gina. You ought to meet Debbie's sisters. They're beautiful, and they're already out on their own. Debbie's father is an admiral at NASA. He was a commander, but I thought he was an admiral. So I'm trying to do whatever." I knew at that instant, when you looked at his face, his eyebrow went across his forehead. His eyes were black. There were books back there. There was a black book like a Bible. There was some kind of hieroglyphics. To me, it looked like hieroglyphics. I couldn't figure out. I said, "Oh, it's not even English. I don't know. What is it?" But, anyway, he came back. He went to Harlow and Wesconet, and he went to the gas station across Blanding, which was a red brick grass, I think it was a Texaco. It had an archway. It had one of those old vending machines where you could get a knee high. You put your money in, but you had to pull it out. You had to pull it out like that. I had gotten a grape knee high there one time. And he didn't park on the asphalt. He parked kind of halfway on the sidewalk, which I thought was very unusual. I thought it was unusual the way he hopped over in the baseball ground, because there is a little curve there. I thought, damn, he just drive that thing all over, But anyway, he came back to normal, and I got out, and I think my friend may have handed him a piece of paper, and I'm thinking, I just want. She opened the latch, and she got out, but she continued. She's leaning in, and it's a yoke cop, So, and she's already called Jug, so she's like, damn, And anyway, she's leaning in, 12 and a half years old. Her birthday would have been in November. Coming up, she would have been 13. But anyway, all of that, I've told you that over and over again, and I feel like, just like Mr. Fauci, it's like, they don't like you when you tell an inconvenient truth. But anyway, despite all that, this is not the point of number 20. The point of number 20 is, I got to thinking about this. His course in China, Chinese language, National Defense Education Fund, was going to be apparently June 24th or 25th, Stanford University. He'd already dropped out of Puget Sound or Washington. I don't know which one he was in. He dropped out, pulled out in March. His classes were over in April, so he obviously had incompletes or withdrawal or something. So, and that's after about 2 years of school. He'd been in there too. His mother pushing him to go to school. His girlfriend thinking, what a stupid major. Or, she must have dogged him or something. I said, I don't understand your major that much. He said, I can be with the State Department. I can do this and that. But she might have said, that's an odd major. And then he went down to San Francisco, where she's going to be, but she's not there. And she continues to kind of she already is breaking up with him. Okay? So he didn't take his finals, but they gave him a gentleman's C. for, his 8-week free course. So they gave him a gentleman's C. Now, what he did after June 5th, I think he had run out of money. And what I'm living, Mr. Fauci, whoever, what I'm living is this 53-year-old lie set up by Theodore Robert Bundy way back in the day. So they look at the records. Oh, he flew down there. He did I don't know what the records say, but he was here. Debbie knows he was here. If you dig below the surface, she's going to tell you he was here because she's told friends and family and coworkers. I think she told someone who used to be called Becky Ireland or Becky Porter. That was a friend. Maybe Rebecca Clemenzi. I don't know. Somebody knows. Maybe Mira Napolitano knows. Somebody knows. Somebody knows. And she's told a class. She may have told the husband and the children. I don't know. I don't know if there was additional contact. God help us all. I don't know if there, because I wasn't doing it. I wanted desperately to get out of that vehicle. The man pulled a silver revolver and went away. He went away. And there was a bad body odor in there too. It wasn't him. He looked clean cut, but there was some kind of bad body odor that smelled like, like hobo crap. I'm sorry, but you ever get on a bus or a train and there's somebody that's really been living on the street and they smell of sweet, stinky hobo smell? It was like that. And it might have come from that golf shirt. I don't know. He was wearing tan shorts. Anyway, I'm trying to get in the human aspect of Ted Bundy, which I hate to do, but I went to school for many, many years and have 4 degrees. So he goes to this class. His girlfriend is just constantly, I might see her, she came back in July for a birthday or something, and he showed up, and she said, well, we did have dinner and stuff, okay. But then she's basically cutting off the romance. She's breaking up. So he's not studying right the whole time he's at Stanford for 8 weeks. Plus, he doesn't like his major. But as a human being, just think about this. The class is over is June 25th to July to August. That brings him right up to August 25th. You can't get into any school on August 25th. Most of the classes are going to start September 1st or 2nd. Maybe September 3rd. That's the way it works. The fall term starts right at the beginning of September, sometimes late August. So when he goes back to Seattle, he cannot get into, and first of all, he's upset. He doesn't even know what his major is going to be. He may not have any funds left. And his girlfriend is kind of jacked him off because now he doesn't know what to do. He goes back up. Does he go to Puget Sound? Does he go to the University of Washington? What's his major going to be? There's 2 days to get in. So it's like, nope, I'm not doing it. And so for the next 2 years, he's all over the place. And did he meet Jeannie? I don't know. There was a child born. I don't know, But I'm told this, Mr. Hagmeyer, Mrs. McChesney, and it's like, am I supposed to hold on to a serial killer's lie? The only reason I didn't tell is when I went over to Debbie's about a week later, I went to Kathleen's and I had my little blue diary. And I said, I've written it in my diary. And she says, oh, no, you can't write it in your diary. Your mother will read the diary and we'll get in big trouble. Big trouble. He displayed a gun and we were hitchhiking. And I thought, well, I'm not getting in trouble. I didn't want me. It was just pretend. I wasn't getting in anybody's car at all. I was just going to pretend for a few minutes because you were acting like a diva. And I thought, well, this is the summer of love. I'll pretend. I wasn't really, I don't know what my psychological stuff, but I really wasn't getting in anybody's car. But anyway, she did and we did, and that's that. But now it's like 53, 54 years later. And you can see my point. I mean, my idea, I was smart enough to know that this guy's got an out-of-state tag. He said he was college because I said, are you in the Navy? And he said college. And I can read enough in that diary. It says talking to, bright red, and there's this long thing that looks like TH. There's a B, and there's something, but it's because the page was ripped out. So you're only reading the imprint because the other part of the page went in Debbie's fence post. But she couldn't get in that kind of trouble not because we hitchhiked and the guy displayed a gun, he was a pervert, but because her family, there was probably some ongoing custody things, and the father could have taken the middle daughter and young daughter and took them on and said, nope, that's it. Then their mother would have been stranded and probably not be able to, anyway, whatever. So later, the middle daughter and my friend got a trip to Austria for a semester. One was taking a college course, one was taking high school, but they were going to get credit for it. But I believe they needed to know how to ski. So who taught them to ski? And who was the guy at the Riviera Apartments with the bicycle wheel hanging from the rafters? So it is what it is. And it may be an inconvenient truth, but I live or die by my word. And I'm not, I am carrying a serial killer. See, he had reasons to hide what he did. As a 20-year-old man, he was going somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. And he knew he was going somewhere wasn't, and he must have had those urges starting to come on even early on at 20 and a half. He would have been 20 and a half. And that was another thing, is when I was riding along with him, do I treat him like a young Lieutenant JG or college prep dude, a GQ kind of guy? Or is he like one of us, like Gregory or somebody, just a young kid with knobbly knees, which is the way I ended up trying to be. But I mean, what was his personality? Was he a kid like us, or was he a young professional man? He was really neither, because he just played the gun and looked crazy as hell, But he might have listened to my stories and decided that he could ingratiate himself. I hate to go there. Ingratiate himself into that family, maybe get some free meals and a few dollars, and then head on out to San Francisco. You tell me. He had plenty of time, because June 5th is way before, June 25th. It's 20 days ahead. And I think, I got so sick in April, because I remember thinking, oh my God, they were building Confederate Point subdivision right over the tree line. And I didn't realize that. They broke the ground, Confederate Point, in 1965. And this was the summer of 67. So they were building sewer lines, roadways. They actually built a subdivision. It was 300 units, and it was under construction. Perfect place to be if you have no other money. And he went haywire. He came across the country and went maybe to Fort Lauderdale or somewhere. And that's why he says, oh, it's easy to sleep in a Volkswagen. You just pull the front seat forward all the way down and you curl up in an L shape. How did he know about sleeping in a kind of Volkswagen? Because he probably had to on this journey that he took. Mr. Hagmeyer said he was quite the transient. Contact Dale Carson Jr., who was my age group. Debbie knew of Dale Carson, the sheriff's son. And I remember Debbie saying, oh, his girlfriend stays, and they were like 16. And I'm thinking, why am I privy to this? But his girlfriend's staying with him at his house, and the maid turns a dark eye or turns a blind eye to what goes on. And I said, Debbie, it's the sheriff's son. Why do you, whatever. But I guess he got married and lived his whole life with a woman. That's a long time from 16 on. Anyway, I was thinking of contacting him because he worked for the FBI. I don't know. I don't know. Why can't she just tell it? I don't understand it. She says she doesn't want her name associated. All right, y'all. Good night. This is my life. Oh, my God. It's not right. Bye-bye.